Hey everyone, I'm Kathy Mazak, academic writing coach, and I'm coming to you live today to talk about how many publications is enough. So, this is maybe the biggest question that people on the tenure track pre tenure have, right? You start a new job, even in the interview process, you might be trying to get this information. You get hired, you start your tenure track job, and you can't get a straight answer from anyone. So today we are talking about how many publications is enough and how you can find out, like what you should do if you're not getting a straight answer. So if you are joining me live, go ahead and let me know where you're joining from in the comments. If you are watching the replay, just go ahead and drop a little hashtag team replay in there. And would love to answer any of your questions in the comments. So this idea of enough. So the first thing I want to talk about, and I've been talking about it all week on these live videos, is the concept of enough is, drilled into our heads as there is never enough. Okay, so that is the main message that we get from academia from when we join. Like from when we become, I'm going to say at least like doctoral students, the message that we receive is there's never enough time, there's never enough energy, there's never enough money, there's never enough pubs, right? So I want you to recognize that as like a cultural story inside of academia, like a cultural message that you're going to get. And I want you to understand that you actually have the power to like receive that cultural message and say like, yes, I'm on board with that cultural message, or you have the power to interrogate that message. Okay, so today we're going to interrogate a little bit. And we're also going to talk about real things that you can do to get a number from people. All right, so hi, Carmen. Good to see you. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Christina. Great. All right, so here we go. So the first idea is what's enough. Now, a lot of times we're thinking about tenure is our goal. And so we want to know, hi, Jordan. We want to know what's the number of pubs, let's say pubs per year for our institution so that we can go up for tenure feeling like good, like I got this, like I'm not worried. And let me just tell you that that's what everybody's thinking about, but here's what you should be thinking about, okay? So you should be thinking about what is my goal as a scholar and how many publications do I need to reach that goal? So I'm going to tell you a story, and I think that this story will resonate with people who are at teaching institutions. So when I started my only tenure track job that I had for 15 years that I still have, but I'm on a leave of absence. When I started, and still now, we are at the University of Puerto Rico in Mayagüez. We are on a 4-4 teaching load. Okay. And so we didn't have a number of pubs at all. Yes, and I will, Jordan, talk about quantity versus quality. Yes. Okay. So we didn't have a number of pubs that people were telling us. And I decided, and this is what I'm calling for you all to do, is to almost kind of like think about the tenure process for your university as perhaps a parallel process to your personal growth, professional growth process. Because here's the thing, you might start out at a teaching university and feel like, I love this place. This is where I want to be forever. This is my jam, and all of that. But you don't know what's going to happen in your life. And, right, if anything, we are seeing the increasing precarity of academia, even for people on the tenure track. We're seeing, not to like freak you out too much, but right, like we're starting to see the effects of COVID in terms of furloughs and cuts in some places. It varies really greatly across different kinds of institutions. and in different physical places in the world. But basically, like, what you want is you want to think about enough publications for your institution, but more importantly, you want to think about enough publications for you. So how this translated for me was that I decided that even though the university was like, yes, we'd love you to bring in funds, yes, we'd love you to do projects, but really our tenure process is just going to evaluate you on what you actually do, what you say you're doing. Like, that's what our process was. It didn't say like that we had to do a certain amount of research, but if we received release time for research, then we would be evaluated on that. And what I decided was, like, I love research and I love writing. And so I wanted to like build for myself a way to always have research happening for two reasons. The one I just said, because I loved it. And the other one being, you don't know what's going to happen to you. So I was like, I might stay in Puerto Rico forever and that would be excellent. But what if for some reason we had to move? What if something happened? Somebody gets sick, somebody dies, you know, as a family, something changes drastically for us, and we have to all of a sudden move when we weren't expecting to. And my kind of solution to this was, well, I'm going to make my publication record robust enough and my grant record robust enough that I could move if I wanted to. So compared to like other people at my institution, people were getting tenure with all kinds of numbers of publications. But I was like, for me, what I want is I want to keep up my research trajectory. I want to found a research center, which I did with external money. I want to bring in external funds and I want to publish because I got stuff to say. So I did all of those things and I got tenure and I got full. But the reason I was doing them was not because I was trying to hit some kind of minimum requirement or some kind of requirement of my university. I was like, this is the career. This is how I want to design my career. Okay, so that's what I want you to start thinking about. So the number for your institution is important, but it's also important to think, well, maybe that number is a number that would be the same number or the same quality, which I'm going to touch on in a second, for going up for tenure successfully at your university. But maybe also you want to compare that to like, what do you want to do with your life? Like, what do you want to do with your career? Okay. So they might be two different numbers. They might be the same number. All right. Let's talk about how you figure out the number. So I tell people they should always ask. So I think it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway, especially to anyone who might be like a little new to academia or who like, you know, is just new to all these processes. One of the big sticking points around universities giving people a number of publications per year or publications for going up for tenure is that so many people are in different fields. And 3 publications in engineering means something completely different from 3 publications in history. Okay? So even 3 journal publications, they are not the same thing. And so from a university's perspective, when they start to tell you these things, they are going to have to, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but they really need to be telling historians something different than social scientists, something different than engineers, something different than biologists, because it's really, really different. Like in terms of number and type of publication that you would need to look to go up for tenure, you know, with confidence. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't ask. So you should always ask. You should always ask. And then even if they give you a number, you should take that number with a grain of salt. So here's a number that I hear a lot. I hear 3 academic journal articles per year. This is a number that when I talk to diverse pre-tenure academics from all kinds of places, that's a number that I often hear. For people in book fields, it might be 2 plus a book, 2 per year plus a book. It might still be 3 per year plus a book. Okay. So, but that is like it's almost meaningless because it so depends on field. Okay. So you get a number, you try to get a number. You ask for a number. If they give you a number, you do not take that number at face value because here's the other things you need to do. You need to look at who has gone up for tenure before you and find as much out about their dossier and how many pubs they had and the quality of the pubs as possible. Okay, because you might get one number here and then look at what's happening and realize, oh, but the last few people exceeded that number. And so will I be held to that standard, or am I going to be held to the standard that they're telling me? Okay, so that's one thing. So ask for a number. If you get a number, whether you get a number or not, you also need to do some digging around and collegially asking people who have recently gotten tenure, if they would share their papers, if they would share information, or, like you might, would they share their CVs, so you could look at the number of pubs and types of pubs that they had. Okay. Here's a few areas of warning that I want to tell everybody about as someone who works with pre-tenure people a ton. I know a lot of them. So there's your university might be like a solidly R1 or a solidly R2 or whatever, or a teaching college or a Slack or whatever the different kind of categories are. But you also might be at an institution that is what we call aspirational. And that means that your institution is looking to go up a level. It's like an R3, mainly a teaching institution, and we want to be an R2. We're an R2, we want to be an R1. And then what you'll find is that the standard for you is going to be higher than the standard for the people who are reviewing your things was. So that's another thing to think about. So you want to ask for a number. Whether you get a number or not, you want to look at people who are recently tenured in your department and look at how many pubs they had. And you want to look at whether, you want to talk to people at your university to get that messaging. Is the admin pushing for, are they aspirational? Are they trying to switch from being I'm a small commuter campus to I'm a Slack? What are they trying to level up? And what is your role in that leveling up? Are they going to make the standards higher for you than they were for the committee from the people on the committee that will review you? Now, so that could totally be happening, and you need to be aware. And then the other thing that's a sub caveat of that is if all the people who went up before you had to publish way less than you did to get tenure, and then you come through with your stellar record of amazing number of pubs, there could be some tension, okay? And I'm not saying that you can really do anything about that tension except to know that it exists, okay? And to know what kind of university, what are the university's goals? What are my goals? How do the two things fit? Okay? So Jordan asked a really good question about quantity versus quality. Okay, so some people at some institutions, they will be told you need to have publications in journals with a certain R factor, or you need to have publications in a top journal in your field, and we consider the top journals to be, these three. So sometimes that's a requirement. Again, what I would say to you, Jordan, would be and everybody, what does publishing in a top journal or with a certain index, how does that fit into where you see yourself growing, not only what the institution's telling you? Okay, so you have to you're always going to be managing those two things pre-tenure. Who are you? Who do you want to be? What's your university asking you to do? And sometimes those things will be completely aligned and sometimes they won't. So someone who's at someone who's at a teaching university, on a 4-4 load who wants to either, maintain a robust research trajectory or has goals with the research that they want to really, really develop, you might want to be looking to get into those top journals so that you get better funding, so that, you know, all these other things happen for you, so that eventually maybe you switch institutions. So it's really like this all the time. And this is what we talked about yesterday, is that the work of tenure prep, we think it's churning out production so that we'll get this like check mark about being productive enough. But what it really is, what it really should be, is this process of discovery and learning who you are and shaping your career into the direction that you want it to go. And so that's why we talk so much about strategy. We talk so much about knowing yourself, what's your academic mission, what milestones are important to you, how do you align the things you're doing to those milestones, and to that, you know, mission statement. All of that is key, you know, like, and we also, so in the Amplify program, for example, the way that this works, and this is, I will show you just real quickly. This is our framework for going up for tenure with confidence. Okay, it's called the Amplify Framework. And what this is basically like, these are the things you need to get figured out if you're going to go up for tenure with confidence. And this is a framework through which you can develop that career shaping that I'm talking about. So the first part is clarifying, and you'll notice, right, that we have the things I just talked about. You need to have a mission statement and a milestone map that you craft, that's yours. You need to make sure that everything you're doing is aligned with that. And then you need to have a strategy for your pipeline. And again, like, this is like a strategy because you want to get tenure. But what I tell people is that you need to have a strategy for yourself despite your institution. You are more than your institution. Okay, the institution is just the container through which you are doing your work right now. You are containerless. You can go find another container. You can create your own container. You can do a ton of things. Okay. But so like, you have those requirements, you have that enough number, that enough places, right? Like, if we want to do quality and quantity. But what does it mean for you? Like, what do you want to do? And how are your pubs going to help you get there? And that's what strategizing your pipeline is. And then we, of course, so this is all the, like, let's get real clear, right, on who we are and who we're becoming. And then let's have the tools, right? The demystify part is, let's have the tools to get there, right? And that's, you need to have a writing system. You need to be able to work through a lot of mindset stuff. And you need to have a really great plan for managing your pipeline. You need to know how to create, how to design your pipeline, how your pipeline needs to be curated, and how to move projects through it. And then multiply, which refers to like you multiplying out your effectiveness. You need to have systems in everything that you do, not just your writing. You need to be connected to community that has similar values that you do. And you need to mentor for change so that we're all not struggling through this "are we enough" culture of academia in perpetuity. But instead, we can start to change the culture of academia. So we start to shift the question from what's enough to what do I want to achieve, right? And if you have that clarity and the demystification, you save time. You're going to have a more impactful use of your time. If you have this clarity and you multiply out your effectiveness, you are going to have more publications. And if you have this clarity, or you have the demystifying your systems and processes, and you multiply out your effectiveness, you actually change academic culture, which is what we're really about. So Carmen says, this is exactly my mindset. I work as if I'm on the tenure track, doing the things that will help me become who I want to be, even though I'm at a teaching institution with no tenure track. 100%. Exactly. Good on you, Carmen. Good job. So yeah, that's my message for you today. I want to encourage you, so I'll put this back on the screen. So if you are interested in a program that is based on this framework that I just talked about, if the things that I'm saying are resonating with you, and you are currently in a tenure track job and pre-tenure, then our Amplify program might be a good fit for you. It's a year-long program, okay? It's a year-long program, and what we do is the program is based on this framework. So we walk you through this framework. We basically are accomplishing all of these things. It takes some time because that's why it's a year long. The way we deliver this is through a combination of training, community, and coaching. Okay. So the trainings, there's a training on each one of these spokes. And then you're supported in your implementation of the training through coaching, both group coaching through our mastermind calls, and which are in a small peer group of 8 to 10 women who are at diverse institutions, have diverse backgrounds, are at different places in the tenure track. They're with you, and you develop those peer mentoring bonds. And then we also have one-on-one coaching as part of it. So, I mean, this image, Valerie, it probably is up at kathymazak.com/amplify. If it's not there right now as part of our big, description of the program, it will be within the next week or so. And this video is going to stay up. So, you can see this, you can see it here. And also I have some YouTube videos where I kind of explain this framework as well. So you can see it there. Thank you, Carmen, for saying thank you. Yay, I'm so glad. All right, so let me tell you about the Amplify program and what we're doing right now. So we have 12 spots opening in the program for people to enroll in by September 30th. So we're looking for 12 people to enroll in the program by September 30th. We are doing a mini treat much before that. So I think Tuesday, the 24th of August is the mini treat. So if you want to enroll, if you enroll before then, you get to come to our 1-day long writing retreat. This is how you so this is what we're doing in the next couple weeks. We're encouraging people to apply for our program, and the application is in the description of this video. You should know that the program costs $7,000 or $700 a month for 12 months. Okay. So it is an investment in yourself and your career. Some people use institutional funds for that, and some people realize the investment and how this could change their careers and their lives, and they fund themselves because you're worth it. So the program and all the program details I'm going to be explaining in an invitation-only training that's happening 2 weeks from today. So 2 weeks from today, actually at this time, at 2:00. So 2 weeks from today at 2:00 Eastern, we're doing an invited-only training, and we are basically teaching this manager pipeline part of the framework. We're also going to go through the framework, and we're going to tell you all about the Amplify program, and we're going to give people an opportunity to enroll. However, you have to apply first. And the reason is because we are going to vet applications, and we're inviting people in. The people who we will really want to join the program, we are inviting in. Now, the application process, the reason that we are vetting applications is because we have a lot of different programs, and Amplify might not be the best fit for you at the moment. We're pretty good at figuring out who it's a good fit for. So through the application, then you will be able to answer those questions, and we'll be able to tell whether the kinds of problems you're experiencing pre-tenure are the kinds of problems that our program solves. And if they're not, we'll tell you what we think you should do, like either take one of our other programs or take one of my many writing, coaching, and academic coaching friends who have programs. Like maybe those programs would be a better fit for you. I will tell you that. So you apply, and you'll hear from us by email. If we accept your application, you'll get an invitation to our we're calling it the Power Pipeline workshop. Power Pipeline. And you'll get an invitation to that. And you'll get a chance to enroll in Amplify after you've heard everything you need to hear about it and gotten all your questions answered. And if you're not a good fit and we can tell from the application, we'll tell you. And we'll say like, hey, I don't think this is the right next step. We think you should join this program, or think you should go check out this other coach who might be a better fit with you. So that's what we're doing right now. We're collecting up applications. We encourage you to apply if you're interested. And tomorrow, we will be talking about, let me get the thing. Oh, I'm going to be talking more about this invited training, what you're going to learn from the Power Pipeline training. And I'll give you some little juicy, pipeline nuggets, especially about like what's the difference between pipeline strategy and pipeline management. So you're going to want to be here live tomorrow at 2:30. Have a wonderful day. Bye.